Shalom, everyone. Just wanted to give a short testimony or whatever, just give my events, my testimony of the things I've been through in my life. Now, this ain't easy for me. I've never been easy with being transparent with people because the way my life has went, people always let me down. So I just eventually shut down. So this is me just being obedient to the Most High and being transparent to His flock. So, if we start from the beginning, this is my testimony in full. So, at a young age, I was introduced to sex through like molestation and things like that in the family. But so as I got older, that's the spirit of lust. And as I got older, I experienced the spirit of rejection just by being I'm a twin and I was considered the ugly duckling, so I was rejected. You know what I mean? My mom, she was a single mom. Three of us before my little brother came, and we was broke, so we didn't get accepted by the peers. We didn't get accepted by our peers because we was wearing the rundown shoes and the rundown clothes and hand-me-down clothes, and we know how society is. You gotta be having on fly stuff, but that's neither here nor there. So that influenced my decisions in my life. And then that's two things that influenced my decisions in my life. And when I was about maybe 13, I think 13 or 14 or something, I tried to commit suicide. But the Most High, God, He had a plan for me. So it didn't go through fully, you know what I mean? I tried to take a bunch of ibuprofen and just go into that sweet sleep, and that wasn't God's plan for me. So as I get older, once I got saved from that or whatever, and then nobody saved me but God, because all the ibuprofen did was make me sick. I didn't know at the time that you can't OD on ibuprofen, otherwise I'd have took something stronger, to be honest. So after that, after I survived that, I told myself, like, I'll never go down that road, you know what I mean? Like, I'll never try to commit suicide again. Like, it was like a weak mindset. That was just the mind frame that I carried from that. So then as I get older, you know what I mean? Like I said, we was broke, so it was easy for me to start selling drugs and start hustling. And in middle school, I started selling Black and Miles to my peers. I had an older person who was able to just get me boxes of blacks, and I would just sell Black and Miles for $1 in middle school. Anything to make $1. I was just led by making $1 because we didn't have anything. So I wanted money. So that led into me selling drugs, selling weed. Then it just progressed through my life, you know what I mean? I just started selling. As I got older, I started selling weed in high school. Well, I started selling weed around high school and selling it in high school, and I'm taking it with me, and I'm selling it to people in school, you know what I mean? Thinking that I'm doing something, like, can't tell me nothing. Like, I got my two phones. This is back when the Boost was hot, with the squawk and all that. So I had my two phones. I had my little flip phone, and then I had my Boost. So thought I was the man. And then that just started progressing, and then I just grew and started selling dope and cocaine, and really couldn't tell me nothing because I was so deep. Like, I was so deep in the dope game. Like, I was so deep in the dope game, making thousands of dollars. I'm talking about, I got to certain points in my life, certain times, to where my hustle would reach its peak, and 1,500 was a slow day for me. And I'm carrying guns, and I'm just pretty much fornicating and just living my best life, as we like to think. I was living my best life according to sin. So let me see, started hustling. I was deep into it. I'm talking about carrying guns and shooting at folks. I remember shooting up a birthday party. It was a little party. It wasn't a birthday party because, you say birthday party is more like for kids. But I remember being at this party a couple years ago, and I'm on probation, so I can't smoke. So I'm in there drinking. I got a whole bottle of Henny. What is it? A pint or whatever. Like the $30 bottle at the time. It was $30. I'm sitting there and I'm drinking that by myself. I give my one peoples a shot or whatever. But other than that, like I'm just drinking it myself. Like I can't smoke. Everybody else smoking. And one thing led to another. The party breaks out or whatever. Like we all about to dip. And one thing break out. I got my one guy with me. He's only there on the strength of me. He's on crutches at the time because he just got shot recently. So he's with me and things break out. So next thing you know, me defending him, I just start shooting and things went left. We hurry up, get in the car, and then they start shooting at us as we driving away. Like at the time that it happened, I was between the adrenaline and the alcohol. I honestly wasn't sure if I killed somebody or not. So I start breaking my phones. I start trying to do something with my gun as far as get it away from me and hide it, but I don't want to throw it away just yet because what if I need it? Because if somebody died, then people was going to want to come back and retaliate. So it was like just put it away from me, stash it somewhere, but don't throw it away just yet. By the grace of God, nobody died. Somebody did get hit, but nobody died, and that's by the glory of God. So I didn't end up being a murderer that night. But I'm still in the dope game. I'm still selling drugs, and I'm still in and out buying cars, buying anything I want. Like I was so deep into it that I was misplacing drugs, I was misplacing money, and I wasn't missing it. And then when I would find it again, it was like a bonus. It was like you get a bonus at work, you get that bonus holiday pay or something. It was like that. And this is me telling all this is not to glorify the enemy and what he could do for you. This ain't the glory. This ain't glorifying Satan. This is strictly to glorify Jesus, strictly to glorify Yeshua, and show the ways that he can save you and pull you out of your sin and just pretty much get you back to him. Rewind a little bit. I was before I actually got to middle school. Well, before like I actually got deep into the drug game, my grandma's a Jehovah's Witness, and when we lived with her at the time, we lived with her for a short period, and when we did, we would be forced to go to the Kingdom Hall and stuff like that. And so from the inside, looking out of that religion, if you want to call it that, it was like a cult. I viewed it as a cult. And if you know about Jehovah's Witnesses, and I'm not just talking about people who just know about them and never been in it. I'm talking about the people who actually been in it and the Most High pulled you out of it. If you know about it and you know what's behind it, you just don't feel God in it. Like I never felt the spirit of God in it. It felt like a cult, to be honest. It was like a cult to me. And if you've been in it, you know why I say that. But so back to fast forward back to me just running the streets. That kind of made me rebel slightly from God. Like I always called on God and always thought that he was with me. Well, I always knew he was with me even when I wasn't with him. But we think that just because we believe in Jesus and just because we call on his name, we think that we're fine even though we're living a life full of sin. See, I heard a man say this before. It was actually Vodi Bakum, if you're familiar with him, and it was perfect. So I'm gonna kind of use this. He said the problem with society is we don't feel like we're sinners. We watch TV, we watch the news, and we watch movies, and we look at the people robbing banks, we look at the people murdering, we look at the people snatching purses, we look at the people molesting children, and we equate them with sinners and not us. And we think, oh, we get up and we go to work every day, we're not sinners, they're sinners. But that's absolutely wrong. If you still got a living girlfriend, you're a sinner. If you don't repent and turn away from your wicked ways, you're a sinner. If you're getting abortions, you're a sinner. If you're smoking and drinking and doing anything else, you're a sinner. Now, with that said, we're all sinners. No one is holy. There's no one holy. Our righteousness is like rags before the sight of God. You know what I mean? Our righteousness is like filthy rags before the sight of the Lord. But back to my story. Like I said, this is tough for me. I'm not used to being transparent. But so I always had God with me. I always was calling on him, and in a way, I knew he always had me. So here's a couple stories. Here go one. I remember the one time, and I was so dumb. I was so dumb. I was taking my little 2-year-old daughter to the trap with me, and literally got dope fiends coming in and out, and I'm cooking up work in front of her. I'm cooking up crack in front of her, breaking down the cocaine with her literally inches from the table. She's so close that one time she almost knocked a whole ounce of coke off of the counter while I'm breaking it down, trying to get ready to cook it. She almost knocked it over. Just being a kid, just grabbing a plate and just, you know what I mean? And me not even, I was just so dumb. But anyway, the one day we're leaving and I get in my jitney or whatever, and we get pulled over, and keep in mind, like, I'm on my way to the trap. You know what I mean? I got so much drugs on me, it's ridiculous. Like, I got so much drugs on me, it's ridiculous. So we get pulled over and they take me to the police station, and they like, yeah, you got an old warrant from way back. It's like over 10 plus years or whatever. You know what I mean? We're just gonna take you, and as long as you clean or whatever, as long as you don't got nothing on you, then we'll let you go or whatever. So they take us to the station or whatever. Me, the jitney driver, and my other guy that I was with. Plus, like I said, I got my 2-year-old daughter with me. They take us to the jitney station. I mean, they take us to the police station, and they take me to the back, and they do the regular strip search. Anybody that ever been in the streets or ever been arrested, you don't even got to be in the streets. Anyone that ever been arrested, they do a strip search. So they strip search me, and I'm a real attentive person. Like, I pay attention to my surroundings. I've always been like that. Just given the things I've been in as a kid, I've been in drive-bys and stuff like that. I've been on both sides of the gun. But anyway, I I start strip searching, and I start stripping down, and I go to hand the cop my socks because they make you take them off and turn them inside out or whatever. So I go to hand him my socks, and he don't touch them. He's just like, yeah, just sit them right there. And like I said, I'm attentive, so I looked at his hands, and I noticed he wasn't wearing any gloves. Now, my first thought in my head was, keep in mind I had on some underwear, some briefs, and the pocket was so deep, like in between the briefs, men know what I'm talking about, that I was able to push it so far back to where it was able to not be found, and I would wear 2-3 pair of these underwear while I was hustling. But anyway, um uh I'm thinking, my first thought in my head when I see you don't have on any gloves, I'm like, if he ain't gonna touch my socks, he definitely ain't gonna touch my underwear. Who in their right mind would do that? So as I'm dropping my underwear inside the police station, hard concrete floor, like I said, I got a whole bunch of drugs on me. I got dope, I got crack, I got coke, and it's a big ball of crack. Like, it's probably like a half an ounce, 21 grams, something like that. Like, it's a big ball of crack. So it was solid. It was rock solid. So I'm slowly taking my underwear off, and my first thought was, don't just drop them and let them hear that plop. So I sit them down, did a spread and cough, walked out of the police station with my daughter, my drugs, and my money. The enemy made me feel like I won. So another situation, like I already told you about the shootout. Another situation, I remember, this is my story's kind of all over the place, but I remember I had just got off of work. I think I might have still been in high school at the time. I had just got off of work. And me and my twin brother, we ended up meeting up downtown because we just got off around the same time or whatever it happened. And we're just like, man, we live so far out. We just moved away from our projects that we grew up in. And we like, man, we live so far out. We don't know nobody. We just moved out there, man. We need some weed. So some guy pulls up and we like, yeah, what's going on? You got some weed? He like, yeah, I got some purple or something. Like the enemy knows how to get you. Like, so he like, yeah, this is back, and this just show you how old this story is, because he like, yeah, I got some purple haze, and that was the weed back then. And if you know, you know. But so he get out his car and we go around the corner, you know what I mean? And this is another way that God was with me. All these stories I'm sharing is to show how even though I wasn't with God, he was still with me. But so we go around the corner, and like I said, I just got paid. I literally got about $400 or $500 in my pocket. Just cashed my check earlier that day, so I literally got about $400 or $500 in my pocket. We go around the corner, to get out of sight or whatever, trying to be low or whatever, however you want to call it. And next thing you know, I turn around and the guy got a gun to me, and he like, yeah, give me that. I need all that. And like I said, I grew up in the streets. I grew up in the game, so I know how to maneuver stuff like that. I know how to move and get out of things like that. So I got my back to the wall, like I'm literally backed into a corner, and he's pointing a gun, and he like, yeah, give me your money, blah, blah, blah. He ain't patting me down or nothing. So like I said, I'm attentive. I already knew that I'm about to get out of this, and I pulls out the $20 as if I'm about to buy the weed, like just to be like, yeah, this is all I got. And I pulls out the $20, rest of the money in my pocket. I just pull out the top bill, which is a $20 bill. And he's like, yeah, is that all you got? Is that all you got? And I'm moving out, like I'm slowly sliding out of the corner like this. And he's like, yeah, don't move or I'm going to shoot you. Meanwhile, my twin brother's around the corner. He has no idea what's going on. We just trying to get this before we miss the last bus to go home. And you know what I mean? So I'm literally sliding out the corner. And he's like, yeah, don't move, I'm going to shoot you. And I'm literally sliding out. But like I said, he never pat my pockets or anything. He never ran in my pockets. Me, I done been a part of robberies to where I'm digging in your pockets. You know what I mean? But anyway, I start sliding out the corner. He's like, don't move, I'm going to shoot you. And then I just slowly start going until finally I get enough wind behind me that I just take off running towards the bus stop. And by the grace of God, as I get to the bus stop, the bus is pulling up. Literally, I'm talking about perfect time and right place, right time type situation. So we hurry up, get on the bus, and I'm all frantic, like not too panicked, but it's frantic because I just ran a half a block or a block or two. And I just tell my brother, I'm like, yeah, bro, man, dude just robbed me. Like, he just tried to rob me. And I tell him the story, and and of course, we got home, and we ended up rolling up some roaches because we couldn't get no weed. So we ended up rolling up some roaches, and we laughed about it, which it shouldn't have been nothing to laugh about. That's not a glorifying story. But, like I said, I say these things to show you how the Most High works. So now we fast forward, and this is just a couple stories. I got stories on top of stories. Like, I'm just touching the surface with these stories, to be honest. Like, this is just me. The Most High been telling me for weeks to share my testimony. I've been disobedient. This is me finally being obedient. I'm sitting in my truck. It's cold because it's not running. I'm sitting here just talking to y'all. But so fast forward back to present day, which was a couple years ago, because it's been about maybe 2.5 years since I came to the Most High, since I came to Christ. But fast forward to present day, I'm still in the streets. I'm still running the streets. Meanwhile, I'm married. I'm still fornicating. I'm still adultering. Whatever. Getting high, getting drunk, partying, and living my best life, as we like to say it. And I ran into this girl, one of my exes or whatever. Like, we ended up bumping to each other. We didn't bump into each other. She contacted me on Facebook, and we reconnected just on some friendship stuff. And she's telling me about like crystals and stuff, like and yeah, and chakras and crystals and this and that. And just like Solomon, I ended up falling to a false idol. You know what I mean? I'm thinking crystals and tiger eyes and all that other one. I forget what other ones I used to be into. But I'm thinking like, oh yeah, yeah. And I'm talking about I start going down this rabbit hole deep. Talk about I gotta open up my third eye and like I was literally going down it deep. But the most high, God will tell you to window shop and he pretty much tells you to window shop and test him as well as everything else and you'll see what is true, what is real. So I'm pretty much in it and I'm at the point to where I'm not even window shopping. I'm pretty much in the back of the store asking the clerk, do you got this in the back type situation. So while I'm doing that, I know one day, I don't know where it came from. Well, it came from God, obviously, but when I say I don't know where it came from, like I don't remember what day it was. I don't remember what I was doing, what I was thinking. I just remember I was in a house and it was midday and out of nowhere, God said, you don't got no Bible in this house. Why don't you have a Bible in here? Why don't you believe in me, you call on me, but why don't you have a Bible in here? You go to them cheap motels and there's always Bibles, but why don't you have a Bible in here? So I ran out the next day, literally the next day, I ran down to Barnes and Nobles and I found this real nice King James, and it's not in here, it's in the house. I found this real nice King James Bible and I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? And it was real nice, $25 it might have been, something like that, $25. But as soon as I seen it, I fell in love with it. Like, and it was the last one. On top of that, it was in a nice box. It's a nice leather body to it. Like, it's dope. You know what I mean? It's dope. That's what I like to say. But so I brought it home, and it was so nice that I left it in a box for maybe another year, a couple months. I don't remember exactly how long, but I left it in a box because it was so nice. I left it in a box for at least 6 months just because the box was so nice. The book was so nice. I wanted to keep it looking nice. And then finally one day, he said, what do you have this box for? What do you need the box for? Throw the box away. So I threw the box away. God told me to throw the box away. Still didn't read it yet. Still didn't open it. I opened it and like funneled through the pages a little bit. Just to like how you do a book, just pretty much skim it. I did that, but I wasn't reading it. Didn't stop on a particular script or anything. And I put it back in my drawer, my nightstand drawer, and went about my business. Meanwhile, like I said, during this time, I'm still selling dope. I'm still running the streets. I'm still getting my house. My house got raided 2 times in the midst of both of these times before I actually came to Christ. My house got raided two different occasions by police. And like I said, that's another story in itself. Like for me to stop putting my family through that was another situation. But so finally, I I start realizing like these chakras and these crystals aren't it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I start seeing that the chakra is a serpent. So once I learned that, I'm like, all right, this ain't it. Because like I said, I always believed in God. I always knew that Satan was real. So I didn't know that this was a part of Satan's, what do you want to call it? His arsenal. This is one of Satan's devices. I wasn't aware of that at the time. But once I started learning that the chakra is nothing but a serpent, that's what made me be like, yeah, nah, this ain't it. But so I finally just opened up my Bible. I seen a couple videos and the one girl that used to do my hair, she was doing my hair at the time. We were just sitting there talking and she was like, something, Pastor Stephen Darby. And she put on one of his sermons, you know what I mean? Like, and man, if God didn't talk to me through that sermon, I forget what word it was, but she put on a word that God knew I needed to hear. And I'm talking about this word gripped me by my collar and said, come here, son. You coming with me. It's about time that you finally get your stuff together. You're coming with me. And ever since then, I just nosedived. dove, however you said, into Christ. Like literally, I start listening to Darby, and I'm getting convicted with every single word because I'm still selling dope. I'm still doing this. I'm still doing that, and I'm getting convicted everywhere I turn. Everywhere, every word that I put on by Stephen Darby, by Pastor Stephen Darby. God rest his soul. He was a true man of God. The anointing this man had, just the messages I was listening to were 12, 10 years old, and they're gripping me like he just said them yesterday. At the time, they're gripping me like he just said them yesterday. So I start slowly getting convicted, like I'm getting convicted here, getting convicted there, and then slowly. And I had a guy tell me this just recently. One of my close friends, he just told me this recently. He said, "Yeah, like I start noticing the change in your demeanor, like, you know what I'm saying, like your phone, like I said, I had two phones, like that's how deep I was into the game. I had my regular phone, to where if you was family, you had that number. If you wasn't family, if you was a side piece, if you was a fiend, if you was anybody that I didn't consider close, you had this other number, which I used to buy these prepaid phones. I would snap them in half after every month, and I would go get a new phone every single month. I would snap them in half and throw them away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was that deep into the dope game. And he just told me, he's like, I could notice, like, I start noticing your demeanor start changing. Like you wasn't really into the game no more. You wasn't really like pressed on getting high no more. Like, you was slowly started shifting. And this is God doing his work in me. And like I said, Darby was just convicting me until finally I opened up my Bible. Now at this time, I might have been following Christ for maybe about 6, 7 months now. You know what I mean? I've been in the truth. I've been like waking up knowing that who the true Israelites are, and who the Bible's really speaking of. You know what I mean? I'm waking up to that truth, and it's just hitting me, like everything just coming down. And it's like I wouldn't say it's like a ton of bricks, because you don't want a ton of bricks to fall on you. This was like a ton of pillows. It was that deep, but it wasn't heavy. It wasn't a burden. The Most High was removing the burdens from me. God was removing my burdens. But so I finally just opened up my Bible, and I just started reading it. And I started from Genesis, like, you know what I mean? And I just read it. And at first it was like a book. You just read it, and you just mowing over the things, and you honestly don't even know what you're reading. Some stuff stick out, other stuff you don't know what it means. And then I read it again. And then once I read it the second time, and now that I'm reading it the third or fourth time, I think it's the third time, it's like it's the revelations behind it. Because now, once you read it more than one time, by the time you get to your second time reading it, or your third time, and you start knowing who the Bible is speaking of when it says certain names and it speaks on certain tribes, it's a beautiful thing to just know. And then when you start knowing who he's talking to, who God is talking to when he refers to Jacob and Israel and things like that, it's just a beautiful thing. Now, I'm not here to preach. I'm going to make a separate video. Like, I want to start ministering more. Like, I got a couple videos before this one. It's been a while, but I'm going to get back to that. But this is just me sharing my testimony. Like, God pulled me out of it. Like, he literally saved me, and now he's my everything. Like, literally, he's my everything. All I do is preach the gospel, and I try to get my loved ones to him, and try to let them know, like, there's a snake out back. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to warn everyone, the entire world, not just my loved ones, but my loved ones mainly, because they're always the closest to us. But I'm trying to warn all of my neighbors, there's a snake out back. Be careful. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm gonna cut this short. I ain't gonna hold you too long. You know, people, they tend to have short attention spans. But I mean, that's my testimony. Like I said, I got multiple stories. Maybe one day God will give me the ability to do it, and like I said, he been telling me to do it for the past month now, if not more, and I've been putting it off. I've been pretty much sinning. For you to know what he wants you to do and not do it is a sin. That's it's biblical. But so maybe one day I'll be able to actually go in depth, but that's through his power, through his might, through his will. I'll be able to actually go in depth, because like I said, like it's this is me just scratching the surface of my testimony, just trying to show that it doesn't matter how dirty, how filthy you are. Like, it doesn't matter how many times you shot a gun. I literally used to run with killers, and I mean like real life murderers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it doesn't matter how many times you done robbed somebody, how many houses you done broke in, how much dope you sold, how many strippers you threw money at. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff. I'm here to tell you, he can still pull you out of that. He can still save you. He still loves you. It is never too late. It is never too late until you take your last breath. All he wants you to do is come to him and lay his burden. Lay your burdens on him. We all feel a void. We all have a void in us. Whether we say it out loud or not, we all have a void in us, and we don't know how to fill it. And I found, once I came to Jesus, once I came to Christ, he filled that void that I've been trying to fill my entire life, with drugs, with money, with lust, with pretty much life. Like, I was trying to fill this void with everything that the world has to offer. And once I came to Christ, I can officially say that that void it's been filled. It's filled, and it's lovely. I no longer want for nothing. I'm a man that doesn't want for anything. I'm a man that doesn't yearn for anything. And like I said, like, one day I'll be able to tell my testimony. I'm gonna cut it short. I'm gonna let you guys go. But one day I'll be able to tell my testimony in full, because, like I said, this was just the surface. This doesn't get into the full of, like, how poor we was, and like how he was prepping me. God, now that I look back on it, I can honestly say that God was prepping me. He was preparing me. He was prepping me, is the word I was trying to say, for this moment. And I'll give a full testimony one day. I'm going to pray on it. And when he's ready for me to give the full testimony, I'll have it for y'all. And like, it's just crazy how I look back on things, and how I look back on the times he called me. And I wouldn't say I ignored him, but I ignored him because I didn't recognize the number, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't recognize he was calling me. So yeah, I ignored him. But had I known, I would have came to him sooner. But with all that said, I'm gonna let you guys go. Like I said, one day I'm gonna give you my full testimony. This was just to scratch the surface and show you guys that he can save you. He can pull you out of anything. Jesus Christ loves you. He loves you. He just wants you to love him, and realize that we are all sinners, and this is Satan's world. We gotta leave it alone. Like, we gotta leave it alone. But you guys stay blessed, not stressed. Shalom.